Good afternoon and welcome to the Delaware Electric Cooperative member rate hearing. My name is Greg Starheim and I'm the President and Chief Executive Officer of DEC. I'm joined here today with two of my colleagues and the Chair of our Board of Directors, Pat Dorey, to present you information and answer your questions on a proposed adjustment to a part of your electric bill known as a power cost adjustment or PCA. Members watching this meeting by Zoom will be able to ask questions. At the top of your screen, you will see a Q&A icon. If you click on the icon, you can type a question and submit it to us. I'd like to turn things over right now to our chair, Pat Dorey, to officially start the meeting.
Thank you, Greg, and good evening. I'd like to call this special meeting of Delaware Electric Cooperative's Board of Directors to order. Tonight, the board will be considering an increase to DEC's power cost adjustment, or PCA. Overall, the proposal would result in an increase of revenue for the cooperative of about $9 million per year. The impact to our members will vary, but for the average residential member using 1,000 kilowatt hours, there will be an 8% increase. We will hear a presentation on the proposed rate changes and will then proceed with our vote. I'm going to turn things back over to Greg and Tom.
Thank you, Pat. This action that is being proposed tonight is something we take very seriously. As a member-owned electric cooperative, our mission is to serve our members safe, reliable, and affordable electric service. And as a not-for-profit utility, we have no motivation to charge any more than we absolutely need to provide you electric service. By way of background, the PCA is a common part of utility bills in the industry and is adjusted up and down to address those aspects of volatile components of electric service. Usually it's relating to changes in fuel supply that is burned in power plants and also volatile changes in wholesale power market prices. That's exactly what's happening here. In December, our predominant power supplier, Old Dominion Electric Cooperative, or ODEC, notified us that they were going to raise our wholesale power rates effective January 1 of this year. This is a direct result of ODEC experiencing significant increases in natural gas prices and in wholesale power prices. To ensure that we keep your cooperative financially strong, we are faced with having to pass through these increases by way of an adjustment to our PCA. I think it would be helpful to add that last year at this time, the DEC Board of Directors lowered its PCA about 30%. So as I mentioned, the PCA is adjusted up and down over time to reflect changes in costs in both wholesale power costs and fuel. Tom Beeman, DEC's Chief Financial Officer, is here tonight and is going to walk you through some additional details of the adjustment. Tom?
Thank you for the introduction, Greg. I have a slide that's going to pop up now. Our business essentially has two cost drivers: the delivery of electric service and the electricity itself. That second part is what we're addressing with this PCA change. Quite simply put, the cost of the electricity has increased, and we're looking to pass through those increased costs to those consuming the electricity. We build an annual budget to collect a target margin that keeps us financially strong, able to access capital markets, and do all the things we need to do to operate in an efficient and very reliable manner. If we were to do nothing, essentially all of our required financial margins would get wiped out by the increased power costs we're experiencing right now. So in order to address that, we're proposing to change our PCA from 1.3 cents per kilowatt hour to 2.3 cents per kilowatt hour with this PCA adjustment. Next slide, please. A great deal of consideration goes into our power cost and financial planning, and I'm presenting here a summary of the assumptions that go into that planning process. As Greg just mentioned, on January 1, we received an increase of power supply costs from Old Dominion Electric Cooperative. Looking down at the table below, you'll see that from 2021 to 2022, on that top line, the unit price cost went up by 20% on energy per megawatt hour. Below that, I'm showing the load that is on the system at Delaware Electric Cooperative in megawatt hours sold. You multiply those two and you can derive our budgeted energy costs for the year. And you see that from 2021 to 2022, we're looking at a $9.4 million increase in power costs. Those are the same costs Greg just talked about and we referenced in the first slide. The next slide, please. In our business, it's generally considered that 1,000 kilowatt hours of service for a residential member is a benchmark that we try to talk about when we're measuring the impact on a monthly bill. The change that would be the impact on a member's bill across an annual basis from our current rates to our proposed rates would be about a $10 change from $116 a month to $126 a month, or about an 8% increase. The next slide, please. As Greg just mentioned, last spring, we lowered the PCA and energy costs by 30%. Even with the current PCA that we're proposing, moving our rates up to $126 on monthly average 1,000 kilowatt hour price of electricity, DEC still represents a significant savings as compared to the average price from other Delaware utilities. Next slide, please. Just a reminder of our history in managing our costs and our prices to members for 1,000 kilowatt hours of service. This chart shows you that essentially with this proposed action, we'd be moving back to the prices we had for 1,000 kilowatt hours back in 2014. Not even incurring the effect of inflation or the fact that we pass through capital credits to our members on an annual basis. Greg, with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Again, I want to assure everybody that we don't take this proposal lightly. It is, however, a necessary action that not just DEC, but most utilities are dealing with. The industry has faced significant increases in natural gas prices, and as a result, significant increases in wholesale power prices. I can tell you that even with this PCA increase, DEC will be among, if not the lowest, retail electric utility provider in the state of Delaware. Now it's time to answer some member questions. Rob, do we have any questions?
Greg, we do have a few questions tonight. Yes. First questioner asked if we talked about the price of natural gas. If will rates go back down if the price of natural gas ends up coming back down as well?
Yeah, what I would say to that is, again, DEC purchases most all of its wholesale power from Old Dominion Electric Cooperative. So we are not a generator that's affected directly by natural gas prices. However, ODEC is. So what we would be looking for is what ODEC's rates are to us to determine whether or not we would adjust our PCA up or down in the future.
And the last question, one questioner asks, can we defer a part of the increase until later on in the year? Maybe break it in half.
Tom, you want to take that?
Sure. I mean, the truth is, this is a volumetric charge and it's incurred on every kilowatt hour sold. So it's only going to be incurred as those costs are passed on to us. So really we'll be spreading it out throughout the year as we purchase power from Old Dominion Electric Cooperative.
And I would add too, again, the rate increase from ODEC to us went into effect January 1. So we are taking action that would allow us to adjust the PCA and put this in effect as of March 1. So we are starting the year 2 months behind the ODEC rate increase.
With that, that's all I have.
Okay. Well, thank you for all of you who participated in the Q&A tonight. I Would like to turn it over to the Board of Directors to vote on the proposed rate increase. And I'm going to turn things over to our Board Chair, Pat Doherty. Pat?
Thank you, Greg. Board members, you have now heard the details of the proposed PCA increase. Is there a motion?
Yes, this is Director Phillips. Due to recent increases in wholesale power costs to the cooperative and the forecasted under collection in power cost, I move that the power cost adjustment be increased from 1.3 cents to 2.3 cents per kilowatt hour. The power cost adjustment increase be applied to all rate classes, and the increase become effective with meter readings on and after March 1, 2022.
A motion has been made by Director Phillips. Is there a second?
This is Director Brown. I second the motion.
A motion and a second to increase DEC's power cost adjustment has been brought before the board. Are there any further questions from the board before we proceed for a vote? Hearing none, I will now ask each board member to cast their vote. Board members will vote by responding yes to approve the motion or no to deny. Director Mike Brown,
Yes.
Director Laura Phillips,
Yes.
Director Charlie Tolles,
Yes.
Director Bruce Walton,
Yes.
Director Bill Wells,
Yes.
Director Bruce Henry,
Yes.
Director Tom Brown,
Yes.
Director Blaine Daisy,
Yes.
Director Hunter Emery.
Yes.
The motion carries. The rate changes have been approved for DEC members. With no other issues to come before the board, this special meeting of the board is now adjourned. Now I'm going to turn things back over to Greg Starheim.
Thank you, Pat. Thank you to our elected Board of Directors for their work on behalf of the cooperative members. It's never easy to pass along increased costs to our members. However, I can assure you that we will do everything we can to control costs and keep rates as affordable as possible while ensuring we maintain the high level of electric service reliability that you all have come to expect from us. This concludes tonight's special virtual DEC meeting. Thank you for joining us. Should you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to email me at gstarheim@delaware.coop. That's GSTARHEIM@delaware.coop, or call our office. Thank you very much and have a good evening.